So, very good morning, everybody. I hope all of you can see and hear me clearly. We meet every day at 10 o'clock in the morning and discuss an article. So, this has almost become a daily ritual for everybody, right? In the fact that we discuss a lot of articles taken from different sources. And before beginning with anything else, let me quickly show you the YouTube schedule for Gradeup for the whole week. And this is what Gradeup has to offer to you in terms of helping you out with your preparation for the MBA entrance exams. And it is quite helpful. You can see there are many lectures lined up, and take you can attend all of them. You can, according to your convenience, and end up learning a lot of things. Right now, uh, today let's focus on interpreting words and expressions that are a little bit obscure. Now, if you notice, what happens is in these sessions, sometimes I take questions, sometimes I take, you know uh, past papers, past questions. For example, XLRI and ZAT, I have taken many passages. Today, as usual, we will focus a little bit more on words and expressions that are a little bit obscure, in the sense that you will find that, okay, when you read the article today, you will find, why is the author saying this, right? What does he mean by this, right? So, for that, you don't have to do anything, you just have to pay attention to the context, right? And the article which I have chosen for today is from The Guardian, and this will definitely increase this problem, the problem that the article will sound obscure, since it is written by uh, an expert, written by somebody who is not from the country, and the target audience is also not this country. So there will be references which will sound a little bit difficult to relate with, right? So that is exactly the challenge which I would like everybody to face today, right? So do not panic. You just have to do one thing: pay attention to the context, right? And by the way, I will not tell you in the beginning what the book is all about, right? What is this article all about? Just read the first paragraph and try to guess what it is all about, right? Guess in the sense, not blindly guessing, but by looking at the context. So, this is the first slide. I will give you some time to read, right? So, let's see. This is the first slide, and there are many words which I have highlighted, right? And I would like you to pay attention to it, each and every line, and after 30 seconds I will quickly discuss it. First, you can also pay attention to the words. So very good morning to all of you. I hope everybody can read, can see and hear me clearly. Everybody is reading. I hope. Take your time, right? First, make an attempt, look at the context. Do not be deterred by the awkward looking, and obscure looking expressions. I'll explain everything in detail, but first, from the context, try to understand who is the author, what is he doing, right? And what is the purpose behind her writing or his writing this particular article. Okay, now so many people have started asking, okay, now Nikita, Argonaut, what is the Argonaut? Dekho, first of all, think about it like this. What is the, is it a word or is it a name of something? It's the name of a book, right? So first of all, it is the name of a book simply. So in her first extended outing since the Argonauts, a book that brought her many readers. So this is clearly the name of a book, right? Written in capitals, right? So it is the name of a book. Yes, many of you guessed it correctly, right? So the American poet, critic, and all-round deep thinker Maggie Nelson, right? So now we know very clearly the author is speaking about another writer, Maggie Nelson, right? Who is writing another book up after Argonauts, right? So concerted land grab on the much depleted notion of freedom, aiming to steal it away from the populace, right? But also from the Puritan left. So first of all, what do we mean by concerted land grab? Concerted basically means coordinated effort. ठीक है, land grab मतलब क्या होता है? You purposely take up somebody's territory, right? किसी की जगह को हड़प लेना. To usurp somebody's territory is land grab. So what does he mean by land grabbing? Maggie Nelson, the author of this book, is going into an area which generally the populist right or the Puritan left generally speak about, that is freedom. समझ में आ रहा है अभी now? So do you understand what the author is doing here? What he's doing here is very simple. He is telling us about a writer, Maggie Nelson, who has written another book, and in this book this author Maggie Nelson has spoken about a topic which is freedom. Normally this freedom is an area where only the populist right or the Puritan left should speak about. मतलब इन्होंने, this author has taken the territory of these two sides. Normally freedom के बारे में कौन बात करते हैं? The populist right or the Puritan left. So Maggie Nelson has snatched this issue, the topic, from both of them. Everybody is clear about this? All clear? Right. So yes, Sanket encroaching जैसा ही है, right? So he's encroaching on the area of the populist right and the Puritan left. What is populist? What is populist here, by the way? Right. Populist means pandering to what people demand popularly. It is a word which is slightly with negative connotations. Clear, everybody? Right. So populism is indulging in or doing things which everybody will support, but it may not be a very good move always. So the word populist is a word which is slightly on the negative side. Okay. And Puritan basically means, what is the word Puritan? Puritan is used for a person who is very rigid, right? Who believes in, following morality, ethics, and rules, to a great extent, right? Okay, Darpan, left and right ideology, political ideology hai. I'll tell you what do you, this right and left is something which a lot of people keep on hearing, right? Newspaper में, news में मिलता रहता है right and left वाला जो concept है, right? So, can anybody quickly tell me what is this right and left वाला concept? I'll tell you. देखो, first of all, start with the context of India. When you speak about the Indian context, the right is the ruling party now, right? The left is basically the parties which are associated with socialism and communism, right? Now, this is in India. How did it originate? Right generally refers to the traditional and the conservative parties. The left would be the one who pushes for revolutionary change. That is the meaning actually, right? Now it would depend. This is इसका origin क्या है? Right, in the British Parliament on the right, right, the seat would be reserved for the conservative ruling party, right? On the left you have the people who oppose them. So from this comes the concept of left and right. ठीक है, समझ में आ रहा है? Right, everybody is clear? Nikita, depleted basically means something from which a lot has been taken away, जिसका number या quantity कम हो. ठीक है, now everybody understood what is right and left? Right मतलब उस जगह का, that country's conservative or traditional thought, traditional ideology. Left, changing, revolutionary wala jo party hai, that is basically that. Now this right and left, therefore it can keep on changing according to the country. ठीक है? All clear everybody? Now what is this knotted up? Knotted up means tied up. So freedom, as the author writes, is tied up with so-called unfreedom, producing marbled experiences. What do we mean by marbled? What is marbled experiences? What is marbled experience? Marbled experience is nothing else but what is a marble? Marble is that बचपन में जब खेलते हैं ना, that round, it's a sphere made of glass, right? It has many colors, right? So marbled experience basically means having many colors, right? So that means it is not in just one sense, right? Marbled experience means an experience which is full of many emotions, many different experiences. So that is what is the meaning, right? So not just hard, not just hard. The marble does not mean that everybody not hard. It is not about the hardness here. Marble has many colors, right? So that is what he's saying. So it is. So you can also understand it from the context. It's not just hard, not just hardened, right? Knotted up with so-called unfreedom, producing experiences of compulsion, discipline, possibility, and surrender. That means you do not feel just one thing, you feel many things, just as a marble has many colors. Getting it, everybody understood? Yes. Not just harsh experiences, Aniket, it means producing experiences of many emotions, many thoughts, not just one experience. Everybody is clear? I hope. Right. Now, her text will bear down. Bear down basically means to approach in an attacking manner. So that means it's very similar to confront or to attack. So bear down basically means to bilkul samna karna, right? To move towards something in a threatening or an attacking manner. That is bear down. So therefore, the author, that is Maggie Nelson, wants to bear down on felt complexities in 4 different realms. What do you mean by realm? A realm is an area, or in fact, it can also mean a kingdom, right? But in a more general sense, it would mean an area. Now, okay, Abhilash, question bank. It's very difficult to think of a question bank, but the best question bank is past CAT papers. Past exam papers will be the best, right? So let's see. Everybody understood. Now, can you quickly tell me what is the author doing? What is the primary purpose of this author? If you can tell me that, you will understand it. So from this first slide, जिसने भी लिखा है the paragraph, what is the aim of this author? What is this article? What is it? Is it basically a political analysis? Is it a book review? Is it a review of a musical piece? Or is it the author's ideas on something? What is it basically? What is it actually? Do you agree with me that this is nothing else but a book review? Right. मैंने जानबूझ के beginning में नहीं बताया because you should understand on your own. Do you agree that this is a book review? The author of the book is Maggie Nelson, and Maggie Nelson is writing on the topic of freedom, right? And freedom, she is discussing it in 4 different parts, 4 different realms, right? So clear, Mohit? No, Mohit, realms are not the ones mentioned, right? Realms are basically the areas, right, in different distinct parts, right, of the book which Maggie Nelson will use to speak about freedom. Getting the point? Darpan, does it promote the book? अभी तक promote है या criticism पता चल रहा है? Is he promoting or criticizing? पता नहीं चल रहा है. इतना ओके, थोड़ा सा if you notice, there's a slight amount of attacking which you can actually understand from here. यहाँ देखो, जिस टॉपिक पे, the topic that Maggie Nelson is writing, she has taken or snatched this topic from the left as well as the right. Right. So यहाँ से what do you think? Maggie Nelson is probably writing about something, right, which she is snatching from something, jabardasti. So, do you sense a slight amount of beginning of criticism, or is it neutral? Promoting? Sanket, is it promoting? उसके बारे में ही बता रहा है, right? Is the author is telling us about the book? Is he promoting? I would say he is beginning to criticize. आगे जाके पता चलेगा. How do you know आप criticize कर रहे हैं? He is telling you that Maggie Nelson has snatched this topic from the left as well as the right. What does it mean? It means the topic does not belong to her. It is not her normal topic, right? So straight away, it is the beginning of a slight criticism. Now, let's see next step. In the next paragraph, we will understand very clearly. Krishnakant again did not get it. What did you not get, Krishnakant? Batao. What exactly did you not get? वो बताओ. You did not get that he is beginning to criticize. देखो author कह रहा था ना कि ये topic what this is a book review, ठीक है? Book किसने लिखा? Maggie Nelson. What is the topic of the book? About freedom, right? Freedom किसका टॉपिक है? जनरली फ्रीडम के बारे में तो लेफ्ट या राइट पार्टीज बात करते हैं, एंड दिस ऑथर मैगी नेल्सन हैज स्नैच्ड इट फ्रॉम बोथ ऑफ देम. दैट मीन्स इट इज अ टॉपिक व्हिच डज नॉट बिलोंग टू हर. ठीक है, दैट मीन्स ही इज बिगिनिंग टू criticize a little bit. Anyway, even in this slide, you do not see criticism. The author is only describing the book, right? So, Mahima realm means, देखो, in the author, why does he use the word realm? Realm यहाँ explain किया है, right? What are these realms? देखो, एक मिनट एक चीज है. Why does the writer of this article use bear down on its felt complexity in 4 distinct realms, right? So this is Maggie Nelson, in her own words, what she wants to achieve with this book, right? So in 4 realms, matlab in 4 distinct areas, right? And here, what are these realms? He explains the book comprises 4 songs of care and constraint. Why is it used in quotes? That means this is quoted directly, probably from Nelson Maggie herself. Okay? Right. Now, so this is what I was telling you. You will have to infer a lot. You will have to arrive at the meaning to a great extent. Okay? Right. Let's see. Now, the author's opinion about the 4 realms, right? थोड़ा सा यहाँ पता चल रहा है. I struggle to think of them as songs, not least because their musicality seems to me to be gravely in doubt, right? So थोड़ा सा मजाक, थोड़ा सा light-hearted, right? He says, the author herself, Maggie Nelson, says they are songs rather than rather than they are songs, right? And the writer of this, the reviewer, says it is not song, it is actually essays. ठीक है, right? शिवानी, okay. Nikita, gravely means seriously. ठीक है. Misappropriation means snatching or owning, taking something which does not belong to you and making it your own. And what is denunciation? Everybody is asking me the meaning, but nobody asked me the relevance of the word poke. Right? Poke is very relevant here. Right? Denunciation means publicly condemning or saying that I do not approve of it. Okay. Now, what is the relevance of the word poke? Can anybody tell me? In the first art song is the first part of the book, right? And art song, it is in capital simply because the writer of this essay, this book review, is directly quoting the book itself, right? What do you mean by poke? Poke basically means to use a finger or a stick or a sharp pointed thing to simply touch something? Does it not come with the sense that Nelson, the author of this book, is doing something which she is not supposed to do? Right. Praveen, the link of the source, isko I will have to, probably abhi I cannot do it now because in the middle of the class I cannot go. That will take time. Right. I will do it in the end. Towards the end, I will probably link my, I'll send in the link. Right. So, what is poking? Right. So, poking Darpan, yes, poking is, by using the word poke, the author is making fun. Matlab, it is a topic which Nelson simply touches and leaves it in the sense that Nelson does not do a good job of it, right? Poking comes with the sense of not doing it properly, simply as a just poking like this, not doing it properly. So the topics that Nelson is writing about does not belong to her area. Ye, in the first paragraph, we also saw, remember, she has जबरदस्ती छीन लिया है from two parties, right? Now she is poking at these topics, getting the point, right? So Nelson, the author of the book, Nelson, is not very skillful in dealing with these topics. Do you agree? Yes. Yes or no? Yes, right. Now, what do we mean by transgressions? Transgression is basically nothing else but crossing a line or a boundary, right? Or crossing a line or a boundary. Sorry, guys, 1 second. Sorry. So, what do we mean by transgression? Transgression is nothing else but crossing a line or a boundary which you are not supposed to cross. Okay, breaking a rule is transgression. Everybody got the point? Yes, right. So, do we sense a beginning of criticism? Yes, we sense a beginning of criticism. Let's look at the next slide. Right. So the author is, the writer of this article is, telling us about the different parts. Yes, Aniket, correct. Nelson did not do justice to these books. She is not very skillful, nor is she doing great justice. That is why simply poking. Simply poking. ठीक है, right? So transgression is breaking of rule, ठीक है, right? संकेत, infiltrate basically means to go into an area, किसी protected area को, में जाना, that is called infiltration. Now transgression is a little bit different. Transgression is breaking a rule, right, or crossing a boundary which you are not supposed to. Mahima, can we say that Nelson is also bold by taking up issues that that all might not take? Acha, that would be taking it too positively. The word poke, मतलब skill की बगैर ऐसे ही, just like a child, ऐसे ही, poking with your fingers, not doing it properly. So, and by the way, when you snatch something from, people जिनका काम है, right? If you snatch, let's say, commentary, for example, from, let's say, if you snatch commentary from Harsha Bhogle, then probably you are not doing something which is not what you are not supposed to do. So Mahima, what you are telling me is too positive an interpretation. इतना positive नहीं है. Think like this. Nelson is जबरदस्ती एक टॉपिक में लिख रहे हैं जो उसका नहीं है. Number one. Number two, she is poking, so therefore she is not doing it skillfully. ठीक है? Right. Now, next slide. This slide you will be able to understand it more. After this, however, things get more diffused, right? Diffuse basically means, what is diffused, right? Diffuse is like all mixed up, all confusing. Aniket, how do you improve your vision or ideas about abstract terms? They are hard to understand. First of all, Aniket, it is the context. It is the context, right? It is nothing else but the context. For example, in this article, right, I just told you two things to focus on. Abhi tak, it's a book review. We need to know that. And what is he doing in the beginning? He says the book is written by somebody, right, who has snatched the topic, and dusra, he is poking. So look for indications like this. Okay, right. Diffuse, okay, Avilash, diffuse, does it mean just distributed? Does it mean everything is, diffusion is basically mixing, especially of gases, right? Now, I'll give you an example. If you drop gases or liquid, if you drop ink in a bucket of water, the ink diffuses, matlab it spreads and gets all mixed up, right? So diffusion is all mixed up. So that is what is the idea. Now, what is this drug fugue? What is this? Can anybody tell me what is this drug fugue? Right. Vaishnavi, poking does not mean tell. Poking, if I use a term, it's like using your fingers or something as थोड़ा सा touch करके देखना. That is poking, right? You poke is you use a pointed thing and touch करके देखना. That is called poking. So poking does not mean tell or point out. Does not mean that, right? Do you not say do not poke your fingers into things which you do not know? That it means interfering, right? मतलब comes with that sense. कृष्णकांत बॉम्ब को डिफ्यूज नहीं करते, बॉम्ब एक्सप्लोड्स, ठीक है, राइट. व्हाट यू आर लुकिंग फॉर कृष्णकांत इज अ वर्ड डिफ्यूज for a bomb, which is fuse ko nikalna. That means to stop a bomb from exploding. This is a very different word from diffuse. Diffuse is, as I told you, if you drop ink in water, it diffuses. Gas diffuses also. That means all getting mixed up. ठीक है? Do not confuse it with defuse. Defuse means to prevent from exploding. Fuse nikalna. Everybody got the point, I hope? Yes. Right. Now, can anybody tell me what is this drug fugue? Drug fugue is nothing else but another part of the book. Okay. By the way, what is FUGUE? This fugue basically is a word. It's a term that is used in psychiatry, right? It is basically a condition in which people forget things, right? People have hallucinations, right? It's a psychological problem. So drug fugue, basically, he is probably the author. Nelson wants to say something like the condition, like hallucination, forgetting of things as a result of drug. ठीक है. कृष्णकांत, यस, पोकिंग इज छेड़ना, जैसे छेड़ना, यस, इन अ वे. सो टॉपिक को थोड़ा सा छेड़ के छोड़ दिया, राइट, नॉट डूइंग इट ग्रेट जस्टिस. ठीक है. ड्रग फ्यूग, एवरीबॉडी अंडरस्टूड, राइट. नाउ व्हाट अबाउट दिस? Is not much more than a toward the horizon of addiction literature. Toward the horizon. What is toward the horizon? Toward the horizon, guess करके देखो. Tour means a tour. The horizon, horizon is horizon, मतलब looking at things from the sky. ठीक है. It's like the, अच्छा, जब भी कोई flood होता है, I'm just taking an example. Whenever a flood happens, how does a politician solve the problem of floods? By taking an aerial view. हेलीकॉप्टर में जाके देखेंगे कि फ्लड क्या क्या हो रहा है. So that is very similar to an example of a tour the horizon. ठीक है. एवरीबॉडी अंडरस्टूड, आई होप. समझ में आ रहा है? सो टेक टूवर्ड द होराइजन मतलब ऊपर से ब्रॉडली देखना, नॉट गेटिंग इनटू डिटेल्स. एवरीबॉडी अंडरस्टूड? ठीक है. होराइजन इज द स्काई. ठीक है. समझ में आ रहा है? सो टूवर्ड द होराइजन मतलब लुकिंग एट थिंग्स फ्रॉम द स्काई वेरी ब्रॉडली, नॉट गोइंग इनटू डिटेल्स. ठीक है. अंडरस्टूड, राइट? ओके, राइट. सो सिद्धार्थ, जायजा लेना इज मोर, ये न्यूट्रल है, राइट. What the author wants to indicate here is that this writer is not doing justice, right? Is not going into specific, like it's like it's a mix, right? So it's almost like a bird's eye view. Bird's eye view. ठीक है. शिवानी, drug fugue first of all is a name of the बुक का एक पार्ट है, उसका नाम है. ठीक है. एंड फ्यूगू इज बेसिकली अ साइकोलॉजिकल प्रॉब्लम. पीपल फॉरगेट थिंग्स, पीपल गेट इनटू हेल्यूसिनेशंस. सो ड्रग फ्यूगू बेसिकली रेफर्स टू ड्रग के वजह से जो साइकोलॉजिकल प्रॉब्लम होता है, दैट इज इट. बट हियर इज द नेम ऑफ द पार्ट ऑफ द बुक. ठीक है, राइट. एंड व्हाट इज एडिक्शन लिटरेचर? अनिकेत, व्हाई इज एडिक्शन लिटरेचर? देखो, आगे देखो, is nothing more than a tour the horizon of addiction literature. Included are Iris Owen's novels and Avital Ron while the fine. देखो, if you notice, what is it author doing? He's saying drug fugue is nothing else but a bird's eye view of certain literature some books like novels, these two novels, by the way, these are addiction literature. मतलब क्या है? Addiction literature is literature about drug addiction. ठीक है? So in the opinion of the writer of this review, क्या नाम था ऑथर का? नेल्सन. हाँ, नेल्सन का जो ये वाला पार्ट है, ड्रग फ्यूग, इट इज नथिंग एल्स बट द बर्ड्स आई व्यू ऑफ सम एडिक्शन लिटरेचर. फॉर एग्जांपल नॉवेल्स, टू नॉवेल्स आर गिवन. ठीक है, अनिकेत समझ पा रहा है व्हाई एडिक्शन लिटरेचर? बिकॉज ड्रग फ्यूग ये पार्ट का ही टॉपिक है. डिस्कशन बर्ड्स आई व्यू ऑफ 2-3 अदर नॉवेल्स व्हिच आर कनेक्टेड टू ड्रग एडिक्शन. ठीक है, एवरीथिंग इज गेटिंग द पॉइंट, राइट? अंडरस्टैंड वन थिंग, देखो here just look at one of the names, you will understand. Avital Ronell's Crack Wars, right? And Aftercloth, these are names of other novels, other novels written by other authors, right? What is crack? What is the meaning of the word crack? Crack is a kind of a drug. Okay, so Crack Wars refers to, this is the name of the novel, of a novel which the author Nelson writes about. All clear, right? Now, while the final piece, Riding the Blinds, this is nothing else but the final part of the book, right? Now look at this, is a kind of intellectual anxiety attack provoked by global heating. What kind of an opinion is this? Intellectual anxiety attack क्या होता है? Intellectual anxiety attack is basically when people have, because of a lot of anxiety, you seem to have something similar to a nervous breakdown. But the author says it is an intellectual anxiety attack. So is he criticizing or supporting? बेकार का चीज नहीं है. Intellectual anxiety attack, an anxiety attack, right? And that is also provoked by global warming. Is the author not making fun of this part? Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes, right. And what is it? It involves the loss of certain freedoms, right? And what is that freedom? To drive or not to drive. एक बार बताओ, what is the relevance of this? To drive or not to drive, right? This is a relevance to Shakespeare's very famous, play, To Be or Not to Be. It's a philosophical question, to be or not to be. Now, do you sense the author is making fun of Nelson, right? In this Reading the Blinds, right, it involves the loss of certain freedoms. What is that freedom? The freedom of being, the freedom of driving. Is it a very big thing? Is it a very big thing that you have to discuss it philosophically? Right. So this is why, do you notice the author is making fun? समझ में आ रहा है? The writer of this review is making fun of Nelson, right? For a small thing like driving करने का मेरे पास freedom है कि नहीं, she is turning it into a big intellectual problem. Do you understand now? Do you understand the idea now? So this is the kind of writing that you will experience when foreign authors write, right? ये CAT में बहुत होता है. Do you understand now? So what is he saying? In effect, I repeat, the author of this reviewer is saying that Nelson is speaking about a small topic like people getting freedom to drive or not, and making it a big intellectual issue, right? And one thing, Nelson lives in Los Angeles, so this is a hard one for her. So Los Angeles में क्या होता होगा? बहुत traffic होता होगा, right? So for a mundane, ordinary problem like this, she is making a big intellectual issue about it. Do you understand? Yes, everybody understood, I hope. All clear? If not, I will give you some time. I know that your responses reach me a little bit later, right? So can you quickly tell me, everybody understood, I think? In the meantime, I'll show you the last slide. Right. No, there are two more slides. Let's see. Right. Now we are coming towards the end of the essay. Rarely have so many words been used in a supposedly non-academic book to so little effect, right? So rarely have so many words been used in a supposedly non-academic book to so little effect. मतलब क्या है? So many words are used, but effect कुछ नहीं है. So that way, criticizing. I hope everybody understands this now. And if you look at the next paragraph, I hope everybody is reading it. Only the first two essays come close to working. So there are four essays, four parts. The first two essays, they are close to working in the sense that they achieve some effect, right? So only the first two essays, they look like they have some effect. वो भी proper नहीं, comes close to. ठीक है? So if by this we mean that they make some kind of vaguely perception shifting argument, so again here the author is not willing to say बहुत ज़्यादा effective है. It changes the way you perceive things to some extent, that is. ठीक है? संकेत, homogenizing basically means making everything or everybody the same, right? Homo means similar, right? Gen is origin, so homogeneous means a group. If you say a homogeneous group, it's a group in which everything or everybody is similar, right? And if you notice, what is he doing in the last paragraph, right? No, दर्पण association with reality नहीं. Association with reality किसके लिए कह रहे हो? Homogenizing नहीं. Homogenizing basically means changing everybody or making everybody in such a way that सब हर कोई एक जैसा लगने लग जाए. So that is homogenizing, right? So turning everything or everybody into something similar, right? The dangers of self-censorship. This must be one of the topics, right? The logic of paranoia, right? What is paranoia? Paranoia basically means unnecessarily afraid of something. ठीक है? Right? Yes. Vague means unclear, right? Krishnakant, heterogeneous is the opposite of homogeneous. ठीक है? Heterogeneous means different, or so heterogeneous group क्या है? A group in which people are different, and homogeneous basically means a group where people are similar. ठीक है? Everybody got the point? Okay. The first two essays. Okay, you mean vague? Okay. But anyway, clear, right? Anyway, so what is paranoia? Paranoia is the noun form of paranoid. Okay, paranoid is the adjective. So if somebody has paranoia, the person will be afraid of many things, undefined things, unnecessarily fear, right? So the logic of paranoia is homogenizing, right? So paranoia is homogenizing in the sense that if everybody is afraid of everything, right, it makes everybody the same. This is probably a topic of the book that she's writing. Okay, all clear? Right. She also mistrusts instinctively a lot of the outrage that is out there. So this is probably the topic of the book, right? Without reading the book, you may not be able to understand its full implication. Okay, everybody understood the meaning of paranoia. Paranoia is unnecessarily afraid of something. Look at this. Blissful liberation afforded by the MacArthur Genius Grant. Its author was awarded in 2016. What is the meaning of this? Can anybody quickly tell me? What is the meaning of this sentence, this question? Why does the author write this? I hope everybody will be able to understand this. Stifling क्या होता है? Stifling means something which makes it difficult to breathe. ठीक है? So stifling is something which is, here it means it stifles you, it makes you feel uncomfortable. Read it for some time, then we will discuss. All clear, I hope? Right. So is this stifling, boring, impenetrable thicket? What do we mean by impenetrable thicket? Penetrate means go through. Thicket is like a thick bush, right? Matlab, a thick undergrowth of plants is called a thicket. Thicket is generally used for, like a fence, right? A thick growth of plants. So what is he saying by this? Is this stifling, boring, impenetrable thicket the result of the fact that it was written in the blissful liberation afforded by the MacArthur Genius Grant this author was awarded in 2016? So from this you can see the author is criticizing. The author of this review is saying that this writer called Nelson, right? He or she was awarded a grant in 2016, and because of that grant she would have had some peace, blissful liberation. Blissful means peaceful, liberation is freedom. Freedom from what? पैसे मिल गया तो थोड़ा बहुत तो freedom मिला होगा. So the author of this review is not willing to believe that this is written by a person who has been given, this award, and is therefore in a financially better off condition. So do you see the sense of criticism? Yes, I hope. Now, what an irony! If so, Nelson was in my eyes a far better and more infinitely lucid writer. She was, in fact, a writer who seemed more free when she was still imprisoned by the need to worry about her rent. Matlab, if you notice, the author of this review is saying that when she was struggling, she used to produce better works. When she had to worry about her rent, when she was struggling, she produced better works. Now, despite having won, this grant and getting some kind of a, some kind of a financial freedom, she is doing a very bad job. So, criticism is what we see. Right. The book offers that I like the best is the red parts. So this is another book, right? And it's about the trial of a woman who murdered her aunt, John Mixon. Okay, right. Now, everybody, I would like all of you to also focus on the last part. Right, the last part, right? So the reviewer does not like this book too much, right? So he is saying that there's another book called The Red Parts, which is the one which I like the best, right? And not much fatter than a powder compact. What is this powder compact? What is a powder compact? I think the ladies should know, right? Powder compact is that, it's that small box जिसमें, cosmetic makeup के लिए powder होता है. That is called a powder compact. So the author of this review is saying that red parts is not much thicker than a powder compact. It can be read and understood in an afternoon, and he seems to like it more, right? Unlike On Freedom is the book that he or she is reviewing now. It will stick to your mind forever like glue. That means you will remember it. Right. So, in short, the name of the book that this review is reviewing is On Freedom. The author's name is Nelson, and Nelson has not done a good job, according to the writer of this review. Okay. Everybody got this point, I hope. Right. Now, I hope everybody understood today what we focused on was nothing else but trying to understand different references, difficult references like this. And and believe me when I tell you this that ये cat में बहुत होता है, especially cat and zat articles taken from foreign writings, right? And it is very good if you practice all these things beforehand. And one more thing is, it is not rocket science, right? Most people generally give up before they even make an attempt, right? Pay attention to the context, right? Look at the keywords, key ideas, and try to understand what the author is telling you, right? So this is what we have to be careful. All clear, I hope, right? So powder compact jaisa hai the new book, the other book, Red Parts, and the author is praising, right? Now, before we end for the day, I will just give you a question. This is the last thing that we will do for today, right? And if you answer this, I will understand very clearly. And by the way, which of the following captures the author's opinion of the section of the book titled Riding the Blinds? So Riding the Blinds एक section था, उसके बारे में author का opinion क्या है? Right. So Darpan, this is tough. Yes, right. So we should be prepared for such challenges. This is tough. Cat में, if you, especially cat and Jack, you are likely to come across writings like this, which is written by foreign authors, right? Foreign authors जब लिखते हैं तो थोड़ा difficult ही लिखते हैं, so we should be prepared for everything. ठीक है? Now, before answering this question, would you like to see where the author mentions riding the blinds? I will show you that paragraph for a second, and then I will quickly, you know, 1 minute, 1 minute. Right. This is the part where he mentions riding the blinds. This is the part where the author mentions riding the blinds. So the final piece is riding the blinds. So read this whole thing and tell me. ये मैंने explain भी किया था. If you remember, I explained it very clearly. Remember? So what opinion of the writer of the review of the reviewer do you feel here? Sanket, this passage was not of Zach. This is a passage taken from the Guardian. ठीक है, इसका जो link है, I will share it in the chat box of YouTube. Don't worry, अभी that I'll have to do after I quickly finish the class. Right, वो chat box में मैं share करूँगा. It is basically from the Guardian. It's a review of a book. ठीक है, right? So that is why. ठीक है, now everybody has read it, I hope. So this is the part where he mentions riding the blinds. Okay, riding the blinds. Everybody has read it, I hope. Right. So what should be the answer? So which of the following best captures the author's opinion of the section of the book titled Riding the Blinds? So Gokul says B. What about others? In fact, if you remember, I explained it to a great to a great detail there. So Sanket also thinks answer is B. बाकी लोगों को, I'm not saying that B is correct. गलत भी हो सकता है. I do not know. Right. So Siddharth, Sanket, everybody thinks answer is B. Right. B. Darpan also thinks answer is B. It is like making a mountain out of a molehill. ये idiom मैंने कल भी कराया था. Correct. What does it mean? For a small thing making a big issue out of a small thing. Right. Now, Ibrahim is saying answer is A. देखो, pompous parade of erudition. Erudition means knowledgeable and scholarly. Right. Is the author showing off knowledge, or if you notice, is it a show? Parade basically means display. Is the author, the reviewer, does it say that the writer is displaying the knowledge unnecessarily? Yeah. Is it basically making a, if you look at it here, right? It's a kind of an intellectual anxiety attack provoked by global heating, right? The solving of which much invariably involve the loss of certain freedoms. So here, कौन से freedom to drive or not to drive? It's an intellectual anxiety attack. Does it mean showing off intellectuality, or it could mean unnecessarily intellectualizing things, unnecessarily intellectually, right? Intellectualizing things, right? For a small thing like, do we have the freedom to drive or not? For losing something very small, the author is making a big issue out of it. So the best answer is B. Okay, everybody got the point, right? So did everybody understand why is it not A? A is a better answer. B. Okay. Pompous parade of erudition means proud display of knowledge. Right. Is Daniel, क्या नाम था, Nelson doing that? No. Nelson is unnecessarily making a big intellectual issue out of small things like the freedom to drive. Right. That is what is the case. All clear? And इसमें से what you can eliminate is very clearly this. It's a well-written part with great lucidity. वो praise तो नहीं कर रहा. Epitome of verbosity. Verbosity basically means using too many words. Right. उस part के लिए relevant नहीं था. ठीक है. So चलो, with that we come to the end of the session. I will meet you again tomorrow. Right, and we will continue the discussion. Everybody is clear with this, I hope. Right. Shall we end it here? So that's it for today. Right, I will meet you again tomorrow and we will discuss another article. Right. And these are the batches, right, which you can think of targeting. Those of you who are targeting CAT 2022, you can think of this particular course. And those of you who are looking at other batches, you can plan for these batches also. Right. And these are the teachers who take classes at Gradeup. And super subscription, if you notice, right, there are two plans essentially, one targeting 2021 and the other targeting 2022. Understandably so, because some people look for a slightly longer period to prepare, right, more detailed. So that is for this CAT 2022 is basically for this, right. So with that, we come to the end of the session. I'll see you again tomorrow. Till then, have a nice day. See you again at 10 o'clock tomorrow.